Hello, and welcome to Winning Wednesday. I mean, these days are just flying by, and it seems like we were just here, and that was on Sunday. So I'm going to get started, and I hope that you and trust that you had a great day of winning, that you found some way to win at whatever it was that you were trying to do. Last week, we talked about having a breakthrough with home ownership. And we said that there are more than 43 million homeless people. And when we said homeless, we meant that they were still renting, that they had not figured out or planned on finding a way to win at home ownership. So just a little bit of recap. We said that real estate is one of those things that will never, ever go out of style because people will always need a place to live. So, with that being said, whatever the barriers are that's preventing you or someone you know or love from buying, now is the time to face the giant. And for the most part, it's all about whether the credit can be cleared. And in most cases, unlike before, when you had a foreclosure or when you had a bankruptcy, it was almost like you just have to give up on home ownership. But today things have changed. So we're going to move on to another topic. And we talked about your goals, and if you had some things that you were trying to accomplish in 2020, and you are more than halfway, the year is more than halfway spent, and if you have not accomplished those things, you need to have an assessment and figure out what's wrong, what's going wrong, what do you need to correct, what habits you need to drop, what habits you need to pick up. So tonight we're going to pick up on the fact that sometimes you have to let go of some toxic people in your life or in your circle. So what is toxic? You usually hear that when it comes to something that is harmful, something that will poison you, causing harm, or having a negative effect. So, yeah, this applies to people as well as substance. So, who's in your circle and who's in your tribe? Who are your friends? And what relationships are you in that may have some toxic substance that is preventing you from having the kind of success that you really can have? So again, it's been said that your sum total, you are the sum total of the company you keep. If you are in a circle of 5 broke people and you hang around those people and you pick up those habits and you let those toxins in, you'll be number 6. Or if you are in a circle of 5 people and they are negative, sooner or later, that stuff will rub off on you as well. So, who's in your circle? Does anyone respect you enough to hold you accountable and to help you grow? Are these people in your circle? Who's in your circle? And where are they headed? These are questions that you need to know the answers to, especially if you are not having the kind of success that you want to have or that you prayed about or that you made declarations on, New Year's solutions on, and you're still not anywhere close, then you need to look at your circle. Now, when I asked who's in your circle, there are 3 people that I read about that would be great to have in your circle. One of them is a mentor. And a mentor is usually someone that is a little bit older, a little bit wiser, or someone that has already accomplished something that you are seeking in a profession or whatever. Spiritually, you can have a spiritual mentor, professional mentor, but somebody that obviously has sought out and has been successful at doing or going or being what you hope to be or to become. Then another person you should have is an ally. This is a peer or someone who you have things in common with. Those are the people that need to be in your circle. Someone that you can feed off, and someone that can feed you, and someone that loves you enough and respect you enough not to try to poison or be a rub off their toxic ways on you. The third person you should have is an apprentice. So a mentor, an ally, and an apprentice for growth and experience, for guidance. That's why you would need to have the apprentice. So when I ask who's in your circle, why is your circle so important? Who you hang around, your associations, they do matter, because sometimes the toxins can get in even if the door is not open. You think that, you got it all together and you got your mind made up and nobody can make up your mind for you. But subtle little habits, they can creep in, through a pinhole if you hang around people long enough. And can you trust the people in your circle? The people in your circle should be trustworthy, and they should be able to count on you. You should share things like your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, things that are important to you. Your circle should be a part of your growth process. Yes, your growth process. Not people that drain you or that poison your thoughts and your dreams and kill your energy. The people in your circle should be progressive, and they should not hold you back, and you should not let them set you back. So how do you identify the toxic fumes that will come and sometimes be spoken into your life? And I read somewhere that it said, warning, stay one step ahead of the food poisoning and know how to treat it. Know the strategies that are needed to avoid toxic infiltration. And it said there are a couple of steps that you can do. You can recognize toxic people. You can spot them a mile away. The waste, they'll waste your time. They'll waste your money. They'll waste your reputation. They will waste it before you even recognize it a lot of times. So again, you have to keep your guard up, and you have to recognize how you can be so easily poisoned or poured into with negativity. Number two, how do you deal with toxic people? Ask yourself honestly if any of the friendships, relationships, or connections that you have, are they contaminating your life? That's a sign right there. That's a red flag. If it's contamination, if it's always draining, never pouring energy into the situation. And so how do you save yourself from these toxic people. First, you got to know what's important to you and know whether you can let that friendship or that relationship or whatever it is go and still become all that you can be. Toxic people have toxic behaviors. Their habits, even though they have some good habits, they have some toxic things some toxic traits that you really need to look out for. They will misrepresent reality to you. They will misrepresent your worth to you. They will misrepresent your ability to see what it is that they're doing to you rather than for you. And the longer you hang around toxic people, the more likely you are to catch that disease or be filled with the toxin. So it is important. So how do you spot it? Sometimes people are toxic in ways that you wouldn't imagine. They are always whining, always complaining, always showing the dark side of every situation. They're clingy, they're dependent. They don't want you to be friends with anybody but them. Toxic. And so sometimes you have to figure out how best to rid yourself after you identify it. How do you walk away? How do you keep your circle tight? And so, Laurie, you're right. Toxic people are like leeches. They stick around and they add no value. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is so true. And so, trust your gut instinct. When you're around someone and you're always upset, or they're always scheming or conniving or finger pointing at someone else, being around them becomes more uncomfortable every time you think about the fact that you're going to be with them. That's a telltale sign. That's a red flag. Make some space between you and that particular individual. You got to trust your instinct. You got to avoid toxic people because you know what? There are plenty of happy, content, going somewhere people in the world. So if you rid yourself or separate yourself from a toxic person, you'll still find other friends. Oh, Zakora, thank you for listening. Yeah, and when you're young, it's very important because we as parents always tell our children, watch your friends. My mom used to say, when certain people come around, you can't go out to play. And you think, okay, we're just gonna play, but that toxic serum just has a way of sneaking into even the best of relationships. So you got to watch it. If there are people that you have to watch your words around, you have to choose the right words so that they don't get angry, so that they don't get mad, or that they don't just fly off the handle, might be a red flag. Some toxic people can be quiet and conniving. You hardly see it coming, while others are loud and angry most of the time. And most of the time, you can hear them a mile away. So just because they're quiet or even because they're loud, you still have to watch for the subtle signs. Cynics are people to keep your distance from. Who are cynics? They are the people that find the dark in the brightest situations. You know, a light bulb can be 100 watt, and they'll say, it's dark. It can be sunny, and they'll say, but it's going to rain. You can say, I'm going to try to lose 10 pounds. And they'll say, but you tried that before, didn't you? And it didn't work. What makes you think it's going to work again? Those are toxic words. They will hold you back. They will keep you down. They're downers. They are the true definition of poisoning the system. So, cynics always want to talk about the dark side of things, the sadness, and they criticize everybody and everything. Nobody is safe. Nobody is safe from the toxic fumes that will spew out of their mouth. Extremely insecure people, people that crave being the center of attention, sometimes they can be toxic, because if they're not the center, and in their effort to make themselves look better than you, get further than you, go further than you, they will stab you in the back with toxic words, player hating, frenemies, acting like they're your friends. So you got to watch these people. And recognizing the red flags. It says red flags are signs that a person is toxic. And it says when someone shows characteristics that you should feel cautious about, you have a good sense of why. There's something sometimes you just can't put your finger on it, but it's in your spirit that something is not quite so right about the relationship. This gives some level of control, because if you can discern that a person is toxic and they're like a leech, they just want to suck, suck, suck and take and never give. And they come to dinner with not just with intentions to eat, they want a to-go plate. And I don't mean that literally, but they want to take even more than you're willing to give. And that will leave you drained. So it says, if you see these red flags, and they say that these people, they can't hide it for long. If they're in your circle and you keep your circle tight, you're going to notice the takers. Yes, you're going to notice the takers. And it's not always about money. Sometimes it's about your time. Sometimes it's about your relationship. There are people that act like or pretend that they're so happy for the relationship that you're in. But they're always trying to figure out how they can either move in or annihilate the relationship that you're in, simply because you're happy. And they're a cynic, and they want you to be sad. They want your days to be dark. So you have to set boundaries for these people. And sometimes it's not easy walking away, because sometimes the toxic people can even be people that have been in your circle or that you think were in your corner forever. Some people have toxic people in their family that always want to keep mess going, that are always talking about what could have been, what should have been, and why it wasn't them. Okay? So you have to watch that. You catch them in half truths or outright lies. And when you confront them about it, it is always, you can't see it like they can see it. Like they are filled with the toxins, but you can't see it, is the way that they think. They think that they have, as they say, their finger in your eyes. And so toxic people always think that you are the villain and they are the victim. So I want you to search your circle and find out whether your circle, whether there are people in your circle that are sucking the life out of you. whether there are people in your circle that are, instead of pushing you forward and being the wind beneath your wings, they are actually pulling you back. Instead of helping you row the boat, they are actually poking holes in the back of the boat. And they don't mind if they go down because they don't have a promising life like you. They see doom and gloom. So if they go down, but you go down first, they're okay with that. So check your circle. Check who's in your circle. It does matter who's in your circle. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And if there are any questions or comments that you want to make at this time about what you found in dealing with people in your circle, whether you're young or old, I have some friends in my circle that I wouldn't trade for the world, because we have been real friends. We have real relationships. We adore each other. And I have some friends that I remember from first grade. I have some friends that I met along the way. And when I call them, I don't have to say, hello, this is Nancy. All I have to say is, hey, how you doing? That's right, Deborah. It does matter. It really matters. And so if you have dear friends and they feed you rather than take away from you, if they are an asset rather than a liability, then they are keepers, real keepers. But if you find yourself in a circle, and it can be a circle of 5, and like I said, people can come and people can go. And when they go, always know that there are some people in your life for a reason, and there are people in your life for a season. But remember, God knows all, he sees all. And if he moves a person out of your circle, say, God, you saw around the corner and around the bend before I did, because I would have never thought that. And so sometimes they are moved so that you can grow, because some people, they stunt your growth. You know how? They don't actually pounce on you like a gorilla, but sudden, subtle little whispers like, that's not for you. I wouldn't buy that. I wouldn't invest in that. They don't like you. They talk about you all the time. And, our parents used to say, one link doesn't rattle by itself. It takes two. So watch your company. Watch the words that they speak. And watch, more importantly, how, whether they are tolerating you, whether they are just, they're there. They don't add any benefit. So in your circle, you should be able to, when you're emotional, you have somebody that empathizes with you. When you're ready to celebrate, they celebrate you. When you need advice, when you need constructive criticism, your circle should be people that you can trust. And if that toxic energy is there, you'll know it. You won't have synergy when you come together. It'll be depressing when you leave. So again, when you open your heart and you open your door and you open your arms to people, make sure that you try to select the people that are not going to be toxic. All right? So that's what I wanted to share with you tonight. It's Winning Wednesday, and I always want to find a way for you to win. And I thank you, Laurie, Craig, Zakora, and Deborah, and others. I thank you so very much for joining me for Winning Wednesday, because winners don't whine. They just do what they do. They find a way to win. So thank you for joining me on Winning Wednesday. I'll be back on Sunday with Sunday's Best. And I got something for you. As Steve Harvey says, I got something good for you on Sunday. So join me at Sunday at 8 o'clock. And make sure that if you have not, and I think everybody on this call already has a copy of my book, but I talk about in the Million Dollar Producer, my journey from the cotton field for the capital. I share many winning principles because I want to see you win. So have a good night, have a good life. In fact, have $1 million life. And thank you so much, Deborah, for saying that the $1 Million Producer has a lot of pearls of wisdom. I appreciate that. And Daniel, one of my mortgage lenders, is on. He says good nuggets of knowledge. And so again, be wise and watch out for those toxic people. They'll poison you. Have a good night.